Hi everyone, and welcome back to Queen G's Recipes, and today I am going to be showing you how to make an upside down banana Foster cake. So as you already know, it is a banana Foster cake, which means we will be needing 3 ripe bananas, not overly ripe because we're going to be using these for the bottom of the pan, which we'll be adding on top of our caramel sauce. And you'll also be needing a pinch of salt. You'll be needing about 4 tablespoons of butter. I'm using salted, but you can use unsalted. It is your preference. I also have here some brown sugar. 3/4 cups of brown sugar. We'll be using 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, about half a teaspoon of cinnamon, and of course you'll be needing a saucepan to make your caramel sauce. Now for the ingredients for our cake, I will show you once we get there. So let's start by adding in our margarine and our sugar into our saucepan until it comes up to a simmer, and then we will add in the pinch of salt and the remaining ingredients once the stovetop is turned on. Okay, so on medium-low heat, we will add in our butter. It does not have to be at room temperature because it's going to be melted anyway. We'll add in our sugar, and you're going to continuously stir and keep an eye on this so it doesn't burn until it starts to simmer. And then we'll remove it from our stovetop and we'll add in the remaining ingredients. So it should take about 3-4 minutes. Okay, so our sauce has reached caramel consistency, as you can see. And now I have closed the stovetop and we are going to add in our remaining ingredients. Okay, so into our caramel sauce, we're gonna add a pinch of salt. Okay. We're gonna add in our vanilla, a teaspoon of vanilla. Right. And we're going to add in half a teaspoon of cinnamon. Okay. And now we're gonna give this a nice mix, and we're ready to place it into our springform pan. This already smells so good. Okay, that's done. Everything's nicely mixed together. I'm going to set this aside. And now, in our springform pan here, I have a 9-inch springform pan. And what I did was I sprayed it with some nonstick spray, but you can also grease it with a little bit of softened margarine or butter. What I did was I put this spray in my pan, and then I took some paper towel and I gently kind of just dried it a little bit, so we don't have too much grease on there. We just want a little bit to be able to help us invert our cake after. So that's that. And as I said, this one is a 9-inch pan. Right, now we're going to place our sauce in the bottom of the pan. And just spread it evenly. And now I'm just going to slice up my bananas. So about 3 bananas, as I mentioned. About 1/2 inch thick or so, and we're gonna place it on top. Okay, so I ended up using a little over 2 bananas, and I just ate the rest. Now I made sure that the ends of the bananas didn't go in because it just won't look pretty. So that's that. We'll set that aside, and now we're gonna move on to the ingredients we'll be needing for our banana cake. Alright, so now for our banana cake, we are going to be needing 2 bananas, which we will be mashing up. We'll also need 1/2 cup of softened butter at room temperature, 3/4 cups of granulated sugar, 3/4 cups of brown sugar, 3 whole eggs, 1 3/4 cups of flour, and into the flour I have added 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and I've also added 2 teaspoons of baking powder. Here I have 2/3 cups of milk, and we're going to be adding in 1 to 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. I will be making my cake in my standing mixer, but most definitely you can use a handheld electric mixer or a spatula and a bowl, and that'll work just fine as well. So let's move on to the next step. Okay, so into our bowl we are going to add in our butter. Make sure it is softened at room temperature. It's very, very important. Okay, then our sugar. And we're going to beat this for a good 2 to 3 minutes until nice, light, and fluffy. Okay, so I scraped the sides as I went along, and as if you can see, I'm so excited I can't even talk. It is a nice pale yellow. And now we're going to add in our eggs, and we're going to mix for another minute or so. Add in your brown sugar. You can also add it in with your white sugar in the beginning if you like. Okay, so this is looking really good, and now it's time to add in our mashed bananas. So I just mashed these while the mixture was mixing, and now we'll mix again for another 30 seconds or so. Okay, so what I did was I sifted my dry ingredients in a separate bowl, and now we're going to add in half of our dry ingredients. Okay, and we're going to add in half of our milk, and we're going to mix again until incorporated. With my spatula, I'm just going to scrape down the sides of my bowl. And before adding in my second part of the flour, I am going to add in my 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. Okay, give that another little mix. Alright, so now for our banana cake, we are going to be needing 2 bananas, which we will be mashing up. We'll also need half a cup of softened butter at room temperature, 3/4 cups of granulated sugar, 3/4 cups of brown sugar, 3 whole eggs, 1 3/4 cups of flour, and into the flour I have added 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and I've also added 2 teaspoons of baking powder. Here I have 2/3 cups of milk, and we're going to be adding in 1 to 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. I will be making my cake in my standing mixer, but most definitely you can use a handheld electric mixer or a spatula and a bowl, and that'll work just fine as well. So let's move on to the next step. Add in my remaining milk and my remaining flour. All right, and now we're going to mix again just until incorporated. As the mixture went along mixing, I just scraped the sides of my bowl again, and then I continued mixing until everything was incorporated. And now we are ready to place our cake batter into our prepared cake pan. Now you also want to make sure that you have your oven preheated to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, so now we're ready to place our cake into our preheated oven for about 45 minutes to an hour. You'll know when your cake is fully baked when you place a toothpick in the middle and it comes out clean. So let's get to baking our cake. Alright everyone, so my cake was in the oven for exactly 55 minutes. I inserted a toothpick, it came out clean, so we're good to go. Now we're going to allow our cake to rest in the pan for about 5 minutes, and then we're going to run a butter knife along the edges and we're going to invert it onto a platter. Alright, so here we have our Banana Foster's upside down cake. So simple, so delicious, and I just wanted to give you guys one tip. When you're removing it from your springform pan, make sure that you wait 5 minutes, you run your butter knife around the edges twice, and you kind of gently push it in towards the cake, just to make sure everything is loose from the pan. And then before inverting it, open the springform pan along the sides, and then flip the bottom of the cake onto a platter very carefully. And this is how it came out. Perfectly amazing. So here we have it. Now, of course, we're gonna cut a piece and we're gonna try it. Alright, so I have cut my slice already, and I just wanted to show you guys the inside of the cake. Perfection. And now we're going to try it. Okay, so let's try our cake. I cannot even tell you guys how amazing this tastes. It's almost like a banana cake that has a pudding mixture in it. It is so perfect, so delicious, so moist, and you must give this a try. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed this video, give it a big thumbs up and leave me a comment if you have any questions, or if you make the recipe, let me know what you thought about it. And you know what, guys, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. And that's about it. Don't forget to share the video, share it with your family, share it with your friends, and I'll see you in my next video. Take care. Bye everyone.